astronauts, it's me, Brandy, and welcome back to Astro-Tarot Research. I'm super excited for today's reading. Don't mind my nails, I do have a little bit of glue on them. They're a little bit crooked. It's a mess right now. This has been such a trying week for me. I have been editing my astrology video, and that should be up by the time this video is posted. So you can check out that beginning astrology tutorial. You know, on this channel, I always talk about astrology and nakshatras, and I know a lot of people have been confused. And so I was suggested to just make a beginner video, and it's going to be part of, I guess, a 27 video series because I want to go through all the nakshatras. So that video will be up. Check it out on my channel. I will link that below. But let us get into today's reading. We have 6 piles, as I promised last video. I wanted to get 6 piles for you guys because I love you astronauts, and I know when I was first starting tarot, I used to do like tons and tons of piles. I don't have as much time as I did then anymore now, but I'm ready to just go for it. And today's reading is what makes you unique. Obviously, I can't treat it like I'm doing a one-on-one personal reading and just picking up on super unique attributes, but we can treat it as like we have 6 unique groups of people, and you guys will fall into 1 or 2 or 3, how many cards you pick. And these are going to be traits that people really see that are a little bit different than you, that they may not encounter in everyone else that they see. So before we get started, I do want to remind you to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Astro_Tarot Research. Ooh, move the card real quick, and I will just jump right into these piles. So we have pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3, pile number 4, pile number 5, and pile number 6. So let's not waste any more time and just sit back, relax, and choose. Hey, pile number 1, let's get into your reading on what makes you unique. We have the 8 of Cups, we have the King of Cups, we have the 4 of Pentacles, we have the 6 of Wands, and we have the 2 of Pentacles. Let's do things like that. And then we have an astrology card, and this card is the 5th house, creativity. So 100%, obviously the 5th house stands out with having to do with creativity, and that kind of connects a lot to the 6 of Wands as well, because the 5th house is not only creativity, but it does have to do with your ego, and it involves individual self-expression, which connects to the 6 of Wands very well, because it's about feeling accomplished in what you do and feeling confident within yourself or your work or, you know, your craft. As well as the 5th house is also 3rd from the 3rd, meaning it's the higher house of communication. So it becomes about being able to charm, maybe not all of the masses, but groups of people, which the 6 of Wands accurately expresses. So people find you very charming, and they find you being able to communicate well with others, as well as being very encouraging. And as I said, with the 5th house being creativity and the 6 of Wands connecting very closely to that, the 6 of Wands becomes about something about you just really stands out, whether that is your own personal style, how you present yourself, you know, maybe you have a very unique looking, you know, face or feature. People just believe that you're somebody who stands out in a crowd, and you just have your own unique way of expressing yourself. Or maybe you just have a very unique voice or way of talking. That can also be a part of the 5th house creativity. But specifically, I had just noticed the way that people, when they have really strong 5th house placements, they're just very, you know, have very unique opinions and thoughts that maybe not everyone agrees with, but you definitely have sat and you've thought about some of the things that you believe and some of the things that you don't believe, and you're willing to go against the crowd, okay? So that's something that people will find very unique to you, that ability to be confident within yourself, which a lot of people, especially, you know, in America, may struggle with self-esteem and confidence. And I'm sorry if these cards are so far away. But yeah, a lot of people specifically do struggle with a lot of self-esteem and confidence issues. You may have your days where it fluctuates with the Two of Pentacles, but for the most part, they feel like that you can at least, fake it till you make it, or you're willing to put yourself out there and be yourself, even if you're not feeling that confident about that decision. So people just feel that. They feel that and they see that within you. But let's get into these two cards because they came out first and second. So that's something that's really highlighted about you with the Eight of Cups and the King of Cups. So people really see that you're someone who is not willing to be dragged into a situation or to be in a situation longer than you need to, which is interesting because we have this Four of Pentacles, and this card is all about like being scared to take chances. But it seems like to me, even if you're scared to take chances, it's almost like you do it anyway, and you push yourself forward and you leave behind anything that just you deem pretty much unnecessary, or you don't want to get caught in the same patterns and cycles over and over again. So people see a strong sense of emotional maturity within you, and they see that you are a highly self-aware person. Not only are you self-aware, but you are very in tune with the emotions or thoughts or feelings or the actions of people around you, and you take that into consideration. So people feel like that you have a unique ability to really care for yourself and to care for others. I get the King of Cups to be someone who's very differentiated. And what I mean by somebody who's differentiated, I'm sorry if I'm saying that word wrong, but it has to do with basically if somebody is upset about something that maybe you did or you said, or maybe it's not even something you did or you said, they're just kind of in a bad mood. But they say something to you that's a little bit off. You don't take things personally. You don't try to be, you're not like offended. You recognize that those are their feelings and they are not your feelings. And so you're like, okay, I feel bad that you're in this funk and you're in this mood, but that's not me. That's not me in this funk. That's not me in this mood. And I'm going to, speak my piece, but I'm going to recognize everything I say and do is not going to make everyone around me happy all the time. There's just going to be points in your life where people disagree and you're willing to say, all right, that's fine. I don't need to just hold on to some grudge or be like, start, I guess, bad talking people or, taking it and making a negative spin on it. That's really not your MO here. You're just here to, be honest, to open up, to share your feelings and share your thoughts and not get caught into this whirlwind of having your emotions just pushed around. So people see a lot of maturity within you and a lot of emotional strength within you. So you come off very emotionally intelligent. With the Four of Pentacles here, because these cards are coming first before it makes me think that you're just somebody who minds their business. Like, I don't know how else to put that. If it was in a different position or if there were other cards surrounding it, then I would say, oh yeah, this person is very fearful, very shy. But I don't get that with you. I get that you're just saying, I'm not going to even bother getting involved with any drama. You're a person who just aggressively minds their business, okay? You're not gonna let someone pull you into their negative spin on things. So that's something that people see very unique in you that they may not encounter a lot with everyone they meet. With the Two of Pentacles here, it lets me know that not only are you a confident person or a person who's just highly successful, you're not somebody who is just, what's the word? You're not narrow, or you have more than one interest. You're very well-rounded. That's the word that I'm looking for. You're a well-rounded individual. So they don't see you just being like, I don't know if you're a mom or a dad, like the best parent in the world. They also see you as somebody who is, very good at their job. They also see you as somebody who has a lot of I don't know if the word's integrity or intelligence, but basically they feel like there's more than one area in life that you shine at and that you seem to have a good grip on. You know, you have some people who are just like, this person's an incredible director and they're amazing at directing, but then they can also be very good actors. So they see you as somebody who's multi-talented, and that's something that maybe they don't encounter a lot, your average person who meets you. But 100% you're coming off in that way. And also you're a very flexible person in terms of, I guess, I don't know if you work in a creative field, because the 5th house would indicate being creative, or it can also, like I said, since it has to do with communication, this can mean two things. This can mean that they feel like you're easy to work with in a creative environment, or easy to work with and very flexible when it comes to children, or you may even have more than one source of income, because the 5th house can also deal with income, but income that's very like flexible, like the entertainment industry, which you don't know where your next paycheck's coming in or something like that. So they may feel like you may have one source of income in that way. Or this could possibly mean that they feel like you're someone who's willing to see somebody else's point of view. So they understand that you have your own opinion, but you're also willing to at least look at and examine someone else's thoughts and opinion, because 2 of Pentacles is also 2 sides of something, okay? Being able to juggle your values versus someone else's values, and maybe possibly reach a compromise. And if you don't reach that compromise, then you just say, let bygones be bygones, and let's not get caught up in having a bunch of arguments for argument's sake, okay? So a lot of maturity coming from this pal, a lot of stability, a lot of emotional intelligence, and maybe just general intelligence, because the 5th house is the house of education. So they may see that you are a very educated person as well. And then I also get the 2 of Pentacles to be like the distance between 2 things, or like just something being like far away or far apart. And so I have a feeling maybe to some of you who chose this pal may be well traveled, or it could be like, oh, you speak more than one language, or it's saying that you seem to have like the ability to fit into different crowds. So that goes back to that first interpretation where you have that ability to charm people and ability to kind of fit in with people, because they see you as someone who is just, you're not, what's the word? What's the opposite of agreeable? I guess non-agreeable? I don't know the exact word for it, but they see you as a very agreeable person, or at least somebody who's willing to learn and willing to understand a different perspective. So that's the main core message that people find very, very unique about you. Let me pause and think if there's anything else I need to add. So the last thing that I want to add is that they see you as somebody who chases after their happiness, and you're someone who is trying to, or maybe you have already created this life for you in which you are able to do the things you want to do, and it's stable, because not everyone has that opportunity yet, or has been able to work or build towards that. But they see you as somebody who is not willing to, stay at a job that makes them unhappy, or stay in a relationship that makes them unhappy. You're trying to create a stable situation for long-term happiness. And the 5th house also rules things that you do for fun and happiness, and things that you do for your free time. Really, so they see you as somebody who always makes time to enjoy themselves. And that's very, very important. You're not someone who feels the need to always just be caught up in work all the time, that work hustle culture that can happen sometimes. They definitely see you as somebody who just takes time to just breathe, take it in, and enjoy life, okay? So they generally see you as a person who's just either a very happy person, or you're in a life, or you're working towards a life that brings us this stability or stable amount of happiness on the day to day. And they see you as somebody who just is a go-getter and generally accomplishes what they set out to do. And at the same time, you've always got something going on for yourself. So you're not a lazy person and by any means necessary, okay? And you may be good at saving money, because sometimes I just get the Four of Pentacles to be like, okay, I'm somebody who just wants to save money for a rainy day or something like that. I don't know if that's specifically unique towards you, but that's something that came up, okay? So that is what I have for you, pile number 1. Hopefully that resonates with you. If not, feel free to choose another pile. We have 5 more lovely piles for you. You come off as a very, great individual. 5th house is definitely somebody who's talented. I just have to mention that because I always get the 5th house for several things. It depends on the person. Some people, it's like saying this is their vacation time. This is them just, they like watching TV. They like playing games. They like, spending time with their children or nieces or nephews or something like that. I've also gotten it to be people who are just generally like traditionally creative, like dancing, singing, painting, sculpture, like the traditional sort of arts in that way. And then I've also gotten it for like media and entertainment. So anything from like YouTube, TikTok, I can't think of any other social media entertainment platforms right now, but like somebody who has a strong sense of entertainment within them and wanting to put their work out and express themselves within the world. Okay, so that's what I get for strong 5th house energy. And then lastly, I get strong 5th house energy to be somebody who's likes doing research and being involved in learning about history and looking at ancient artifacts and just having this need to be in tune with the past, okay? So that's something else that I see the 5th house represent, most dominantly those 3 things. So you may have some of those qualities within you that people find very, very unique. So I'm going to end this reading and I will hopefully see you next time. Au revoir. Hey, pile number 2, let's get into what's unique about you. Did I speak a sentence there? I don't think so. So we have the Knight of Pentacles. You have the Ace of Pentacles. We have Temperance. Put that here. Queen of Swords. 4 of Pentacles. We got that with the last pile too. Wow. Okay, maybe you guys want to check out pile number 1. We have 3rd house, communication or messages, whatever they want to call it. Okay, so let's start with the first pile and what is unique about you. I always get the Knight of Pentacles to be somebody who is just very, very, very hard working. So you're a hard worker, very diligent at your job. You may even be too diligent because Knight of Pentacles is somebody who doesn't know when to say when. So they may get caught up in very, very small details. They can be kind of like a perfectionist. And so that's something that's very, I guess it's not super unique towards you, but it's something that people definitely will notice about you. But other things that are very unique is that you're always coming up with new ideas and you always have something that you could work on, or you may even be looking for different avenues to make money as well. I mean, Ace of Pentacles is just one of those money cards, so I have to mention it. So people may see that you're good with money, or they may see that you're somebody who just always got some coin in your pocket as well, okay? Another thing we want to get in with the Knight of Pentacles, as I mentioned before, with the detailed orientalness, if that's even the right way to say that, but being highly, extremely detail oriented, people notice that you notice the little things when it comes to maybe you're watching a movie and then you hear a soundtrack that's very mysterious and you point it out and you're like, I wonder why they've got this mysterious music playing. Or you're like, look at the way they dress this character and the colors in comparison to that character. They see that you have an eye for detail and that becomes very, very unique towards you. With Temperance here, Temperance I get for many meanings, but when we have it next to the Ace of Pentacles, I generally think of things that you value and things that you believe in. So you may have a specific belief that is not extremely common or mainstream. So something like that could be like Wicca. It could be tarot and astrology, even though I kind of feel like that's becoming more mainstream now. It's still not ultimately the mainstream. But they may see that you're somebody who has just very unique belief systems or unique values and principles that you may live your life by. And that's something that really stands out to people. And you come off to be a very intelligent person. I always get the Queen of Swords to be somebody who doesn't show all their cards. They know how to read the room. They know how to communicate how they feel. Well, maybe less of how they feel, because Queen of Swords is not really like a feel card, but communicate what they have to say in a way that is honest and true to who you are as a person. So people definitely see that you're someone who is comfortable expressing who you are as a person and what makes you you. I always get Temperance connected to the ninth house, and like I was talking about with belief systems, but sometimes it has to do with entertainment. So I'm throwing this out there, and this may or may not, resonate with some of you, but people may feel like you're someone who watches a lot of TV shows or movies or read books and content that is not exactly mainstream. So you may have like this host of references in your brain to different arts and medias that the average person does not. Like, you're this collector of knowledge. You don't just stick to what's been given to you in mainstream media. You go out there and you look for things that may be a little bit foreign, can be different, can be eccentric and unique. Okay, so I just want to bring that and put that out there for some of you, because I have gotten it to relate to that. Third house messages, pretty similar to what we were talking about before when it comes to communication, but third house is also your thinking and how you think and what kind of thoughts do you have? Like, do you have positive thoughts? What do you generally think about on the day-to-day? Do you have a lot of anxiety? Now, swords in general can have a lot of anxiety, and they're always trying to think things through and figure out every little detail. Water signs can be like this too. Water signs can be very, very deep with their thinking as well, but air signs can be a little bit more strategic. So there is this sense of strategy, long-term strategy, when it comes to how you move about in the world and how you express yourself in this life, okay? So people will see you as somebody always thinking of the long term. Now, you're always willing to take in a new idea, especially when it's something you believe adds value to your life, and you're willing to investigate it and cultivate it as well. But you definitely want to be the type of person to really do your research. That's how people see you as. They see you as very thorough in how you express yourself, thorough in how you investigate and how you move in the world, and you take your time doing things. There is no wands here. You are not rushing, okay? You're not someone who can be rushed. You are on your time always, okay? So that is what people see, very, very unique to you. Third house, as I said before, when we have the third house and sort of this ninth house, sorry about that, my computer. We have this third house and we have this ninth house energy. It becomes strongly about communication. So people see you as a very master communicator. I wish I was like this. I'm always saying and like and and things like that. I'm really trying to be like you guys, because people feel that you're someone who can easily express their thoughts and communicate in a way that's effective for people. Not only that, but something I do want to mention is when we have third house and the Queen of Swords, people think you're generally very funny, especially with Temperance here. There's a sense of humor within you. It may be a little bit more of a dry humor with these pentacles around, but people definitely find you very humorous. They think that you are creative in your thinking and you're always coming up with new ideas or different perspectives that generally people may not have thought of. Temperance is also the card that I get when we're trying to make sure that everyone is feeling okay, that this is a safe space, that you can express yourself, so they don't come off and see this sense of judgment. And third house also connects to the Lovers, and Lovers carries that same energy where you're balancing the ideas of another person or a group or a crowd against your own. It's your beliefs versus someone else's beliefs in that sense. So there's someone who sees you as somebody who is very tolerant of other people's beliefs and ways of thinking. With the Four of Pentacles here being next to this Queen of Swords, as you guys know, I do read Pentacles and Swords next to each other as this being reversed. So what is unique about you is that you're willing to come out of your shell and you're willing to take a risk and you're willing to say something that may rattle people a little bit, but it's honest and it's true. You may hesitate at first because otherwise we wouldn't have this Four of Pentacles here, but you're going to put your message out there. But I kind of feel like with this Four of Pentacles energy, it says you're going to do your best to cushion the message. Your communication is very clear, it's very sharp, it's very concise, and it's very understandable, as well as it doesn't come off rude. You still stay within the boundaries of being socially acceptable. You don't like to rock the boat. People just see you as a very chill individual in that sense. Another thing the third house relates to, which comes right back to this Knight of Pentacles energy, is the third house is the house of efforts, and it is also the house of courage. So people see you, like I said, how it comes back to you're willing to put those thoughts out there, even though that you know that there might be some haterade, there might be some attacks, but at the same time, you're also somebody who's just putting a lot of work and putting in a lot of effort. Lastly, I want to mention that people see you as very skilled and someone who takes their craft very seriously, or your job very seriously, or your schooling very seriously in that manner. And then whenever I get a third house transit, it's always a transit having to deal with not only, if it's not the way that you think and the way that you form thoughts and communicate with other people and do research, it can also have to do with going on small trips. And by small trips, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to the grocery store, or oh, I'm taking a small trip to the beach, which may be like 2 hours, 3 hours away, depending on where you live, or, you know, a small trip to the mountains, whatever it is. So it has to do with that. So they may feel like you've gone on these little small trips, that you've seen these little pockets in different areas of life that many people haven't seen. I'm sure if I were to live my life as a tourist of, you know, the area I live in, I would probably be surprised about the different things that I would discover. And you could probably act as a tour guide in that sense, because you seem to have a lot of knowledge about either the area you will live in, or maybe different shops in the area, very different businesses, or maybe even just some history about the places around you that you've visited. So you really take the time to get to know the area around you, or this could just be like your neighborhood. You get the time to sort of just like analyze your neighbors, okay? And who it is that you see on a daily basis. It also comes up when it has to do with siblings and aunts and uncles. I don't know why that was so hard for me to say, but that's something that people find unique about you in that sense. And they may even feel like that you have a, you know, unique relationship with your siblings, aunts or uncles, or cousins or neighbors. That could be something that people see in you, that they're like, oh, I've never had a relationship like that with my neighbor, or I've never had a relationship like that with my uncle, or something like that. Like maybe you guys are like close friends or something like that, or you have some very interesting family members. That's something that's coming up for me here. Lastly, I want to mention, because we have so many Pentacle cards, I always get Pentacle cards to be somebody who is very humble and very down to earth. So you don't come off very arrogant to people. You don't come off condescending in any way. You come off as somebody who is just sees everyone on a level playing field. As well as when we have third house here, it's always about expanding knowledge, okay? So they really feel like you take the time to listen to other people and to gain insight into their interests and to understand what it is that they find valuable. And the Queen of Swords doesn't always, talk. Sometimes she just watches and listens and sees how other people act, and you analyze that and you gain insight into other people. But yeah, your intelligence really comes out a lot with this, as well as your efforts. I'm trying to think of anything else that I may have missed. I'm sure there's something that's in the cards that's probably right in front of me that I'm like, what could I say? I always think of like a billion things after I do the reading, and I'm like, no, I should have mentioned that. And it's just your calm, okay? Like I really pick up on like you have that calm energy within you. Just very calm, very chill, very much about self-improvement, very much going outside of yourself, picking up on new ideas, doing research, staying educated, staying informed, questioning the world around you, and growing. So that is what I have for you, pile number 2. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I hope this reading resonates. If not, feel free to choose another pile. You guys seem like really incredible people, and I will see you guys next time. Au revoir. Hey, pile number 3. Let us get started on what makes you unique. We have the Page of Swords. We have the Page of Pentacles. Just gonna reverse that really quick. We have the Ten of Swords, okay, and we have the Wheel of Fortune, and we have the Seven of Wands, and then we have Saturn Truth. So this is interesting because, when I get these elements, pages of Pentacles and Swords together, I got to reverse them a little bit. I probably don't have to reverse this one, but I'm just going to read it how the messages come to me, if that makes sense for you guys, okay? Make sure they're all in the camera frame here, all right? So what's happening here when we have the Page of Swords and the Page of Pentacles? So what is unique towards you is you come off a lot younger than your age, okay? I don't get these cards to be, it's so interesting because Saturn's the card of truth and maturity and revealing information and uncovering the deep depths of what's there. It's just like digging for things that are underground, information, secrets. And certain places do this. The Moon card will withhold secrets, but Saturn's really like things that are like really, you got to dig deep for them, okay? And so for me, it comes off as that you have a unique way of thinking in comparison to people your age that people really don't expect. And sometimes they're not even sure how to interpret it because Saturn's energy can sometimes be very closed off and you cannot see the full picture of someone. And then when I get this Ten of Swords energy, I'm taking this to be a little bit more positive. And with the Ten of Swords, it makes it seem like to other people, you're making even fun of yourself when you're going through situations that can be very tough. Or this is like saying that you're someone who may have your sense of humor and your way of thinking is really totally different from a lot of people around you. Okay, it's a lot. with the Ten of Swords, if it were upright, then I would say you're stuck in, like negative thought patterns. It also has to do with being very dramatic with emotions. It can have to do with saying very harsh words. But since it's reversed, it's almost like people may interpret your things to be harsh, or they may interpret things to be negative, but you're not meaning it in a negative way. And your perspective isn't to literally hurt anyone. It's more having to do with thinking too much, but like thinking too much in a way that people are just so confused as to what you're trying to come across, where they're like, at first I was offended, but now I don't even know what to think. Okay. So what's unique about you is you can kind of confuddle people with how you communicate towards them. That is the main message I get here. People are just like, was that message for me? What are they trying to say? Like, you're the one, instead of you're the one being overwhelmed with thoughts, you're ending up like overwhelming other people and making them think a lot and making them maybe think too much, and just trying to, like, they end up questioning themselves. So a lot of people, when they're around you, they kind of feel like, well, do I really know what I know? Did I really mean to? I had a way of thinking up until I met this person. Is that way of thinking correct? Is that way of thinking sustainable now? Like, it just feels all topsy-turvy for them. So that's very unique about you. You make other people think a lot, and it kind of feels like their head can explode sometimes. So there is an intelligence about you. I will say that it may not be communicated the best way, because Saturn, even though it's the planet of truth and uncovering mystery, Saturn's not a planet of communication. If you get Saturn in like your third house, a lot of people with Saturn in their third house, they can be scared to speak. They can have stutters. They can come off to be very, I don't know a nice way to put this, but a lot of people who have strong Saturn placements, people will interpret to be dumb. Okay. And there's a one particular Saturn placement that does that, but it is a Saturnian energy where people can perceive you to not be as smart as you are. And I think it really undercuts them when they realize that that's really not the case. Because when the Page of Swords is upright, the Page of Swords isn't the brightest card, but they're willing to learn and they're willing to understand, they're willing to grow. When it is reversed in that way, it's like they can be extremely smart. That's one of the interpretations. They can be extremely smart. Page of Pentacles can be very practical when it's like reversed. That's one of the more positive interpretations. But at the same time, it's just like people, they don't expect that from you at first, okay? Because they feel like you were trying to communicate one thing and then it turned around and then they were like, whoa, actually, maybe that person was right, okay? So that's the kind of uniqueness that you're bringing into the situation. You're bringing that Uno reverse card, like, surprise, I'm the smart one. Or surprise, I'm the one who's doing things in the most practical, logical manner, okay? Or I'm surprised I'm actually very talented, or surprised that these beliefs actually have a very strong foundation to them. Surprised I'm actually super, super confident. Because I get the Page of Pentacles to be someone who's not very confident, or can come off very like shy and, a little bit insecure, and they're like, oh, I don't know about this, and da 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 da. And you're kind of like, oh, surprise, actually I am super confident. Actually, I am really, I really do. And I really am happy within myself. I really do value myself. I really do see myself in a more positive light than you may think. Okay, so that's something that's a little bit different, and it's really throwing people off, okay? I'm not gonna lie, that's the energy I picked up. So the Wheel of Fortune is connected to Jupiter, and I have done a lot of research into Punavarsu, which is a Jupiter placement. It's a Jupiter nakshatra. And as a result of doing a lot of research into that placement, I do a lot of research into, had to do a lot of research into, not a lot, a few research into other Jupiter placements. And one theme that came up over was having to do with have cycles, as well as sort of like out of body experiences and their experiences with the psychic realm are, you know, without any control. They have no control over that. It's just being experienced by them, through them, until we get to Purva Bhadrapada, which is a little bit more channeled. But basically what happens with this Jupiter placement and having to do with cycles and repeating patterns and things like that, what's unique to you is that you learn a little bit more and you grow a little bit more as you go through these cycles. The growth may not be that fast, but it is happening, and people can kind of see you go through these cycles. It's almost like you have these little changes day by day, and Saturn is the planet of transformation, and people see you transform and they see you grow, and you do it so frequently. It's like you just kind of just shed your skin. You're like a caterpillar and you kind of shed your skin maybe every few months, every couple of years. It looks like it takes some time with the Page of Pentacles being reversed, because I can get that card to be like taking even more time to do things than it may be deemed necessary. And Saturn is a slow moving planet. Hence, you know, Saturn return takes 30 years to come around full circle and everything like that. So people see you go through these changes and these transformations, and it's daunting to them that they see this within you, because a lot of times people do end up staying the same, but it doesn't look like that for you. It looks like you're really fighting your way to grow as a person. Now, you may be growing in a way that people are not expecting of you, but you are still growing, okay? So that's something that it can catch people really off guard, because they don't know who to expect from you. It's almost like you're with this Seven of Wands energy, you're battling yourself. So that's something that they really see. This is a very intense placement that we got for you guys here today when we have what's unique about you. Definitely very transformative. Definitely someone who's spiritual. I get Saturn and Jupiter to be more spiritual when they come together. Sometimes it's religious, but it's mainly spiritual. And I also get it to be someone who wants to bring the spirituality and realm into a more practical everyday fit or knowledge, you know, like using astrological transits to implement that into your day, or using tarot in your day-to-day. So using the spiritual in a practical manner. So that's something that happens. And then on top of that, we have the Wheel of Fortune and the Saturn being both having to do with change. And we also have the Seven of Wands having to do with this uphill battle towards movement, defending your position, or even trying to achieve a higher position, having people come for your spot. So it seems like you're not only, you know, battling your own demons, but you also have to battle other people. And I do get Saturn to definitely have to deal with a lot of enemies in a way. Saturn is just that, it is the most moral planet. And when you're somebody who has a high sense of morality, you're going to attract a lot of enemies, because there's a lot of greed, there's a lot of jealousy, there's a lot of hatred within this world. So when you're somebody who wants to do good, you're going to get in the way of corruption. You're going to get in the way of greed. You're going to get in the way of selfishness and of ego. And you're going to be someone who's out there, you know, destroying that. And so they see you as somebody who's naturally attracting a lot of enemies. This sounds terrible. Like you, to be like, what's unique about you? You attract enemies. That's unique. Okay. But it's true. It's 100% true. You are going to be attracting a lot of different enemies. So they definitely see something about you where you attract a lot of haters, and even if these people are neutral towards you, who are observing you, they're like, there may be some people like, what's going on? I wonder why people are just so irritated by your energy here. Another thing with the Seven of Wands, it obviously has to do with that fierceness. I get it to be like somebody who is just battling. I literally just got this card a day ago, and oh my gosh, I felt like I think I was working for like, man, 15 hours straight, because I was trying to edit this video for you guys. So you guys better go watch that astrology video. But yeah, you're battling staying awake, you're battling sleep, you're battling getting all your responsibilities done. Like, you have high energy. This is all the card about stamina. They see you as somebody who does not give up. You do not back down. You will stand up for yourself, and you'll stand up for what you believe in, and you are opinionated, and you will say what you need to say, and you will, you know, fight for whatever it is that you believe, or at least you're somebody who's going to keep the fight going for change. You know, some people, they get beat up. What's that saying where you tie yourself up by your bootstraps, or you pull yourself up by your bootstraps? People see you as being able to do that over and over and over again. Like, they see you not getting beat down by negative thoughts, and they're like, how is this person still going? How is this person still expending all this energy, even though they've had no successes? They've had a billion different failures. They see you as somebody trying to stay positive and stay focused. Like, they're like, these swords, when they're upside down, they're coming out of this person's back. They're like, you're not going to get me. You're not going to bring me down. I don't care what you throw at me. Like, I'm just going to let these swords fall off my back. I've been hurt. I've been down. I've been beaten, but I'm still in the fight. Okay. So, it just reminds me of the show, The Good Fight. And if you've seen, I've seen the pre-show for that, which is The Good Wife. And man, if it's anything, The Good Fight is anything like The Good Wife, the TV show, then these people were definitely in these courtrooms. It's about lawyers just kind of fighting battles that went on forever, went on for years, and several characters would come up over and over again. It's like, oh, I got to deal with this person again, and oh, I got to do this. And they just see you as somebody who just keeps going no matter what. You just don't let life beat you down. Okay, and that's very Saturnian energy. Other Saturnian qualities that people will see in you, besides the transformation, the change, the bringing about maturity, the seeming naive but really not being all that naive, and the digging for the mystery. Saturn will also be a planet that has to do with bringing everyone, I was going to say bringing everyone to their knees, but that's not really it. It's like bringing everyone to an equal playing field, okay? So you can look at this Wheel of Fortune circular and think about the round table of author. And so they see you as like, hey, everyone can catch these hands, okay? Basically, you're treating everyone equally and fairly. That's what the planet Saturn does. And it's just going to create a energy in which you don't give up. That's the planet Saturn. It's what somebody who's Saturn ruled, where Hillary Clinton, she would be somebody Saturn ruled. And one thing I think Donald said about her, he said one thing positive he could say about her is that she just doesn't quit. She doesn't stop. Like, she just keeps coming. And so that's how they seek you. That's something unique about you, where they're like, wow, this person's really, nothing you can do to bring them down. They've thrown every knife every sword at you, and you're still here. So that is what we have for you, pal number 3. You guys are the fighters. You guys are coming in hard and tough, and you've got that Saturn energy. You're here for the long run, okay? And you're changing, and you're growing, and you're catching people off guard, and you're throwing them off. So that is what I have for you, pal number 3. I will see you guys next time. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and au revoir. Hey, pal number 4, let's get started on your reading and what's unique about you. We have North Node, Life's Purpose, 7 of Cups, 6 of Wands. Let's put these together. The Fool, King of Pentacles, and the Emperor. Okay. Making a lot of sense here. So, what is unique about you is that you may be a little bit more realistic when it comes to obtaining your goals and your dreams. Normally the North Node represents like bigger, better, keep dreaming, just maybe like, you know, Drake energy, like bigger, better, more money, more cars, more girls, etc., like that kind of energy. But since we have with the Seven of Cups reversed, it makes me think that you're not thinking like I need to live the most extravagant or lifestyle, or even a lifestyle that's, you know, promoted in the media, which is like extremely materialistic. You're looking for something that basically will, you know, make you happy. You don't need a lot of attention. You don't need a lot of praise. You don't even need a lot of people saying, oh my gosh, that's so incredible for you. You need something that's personally fulfilling within yourself. So you don't really need that validation from other people. And that's very unique about you. You're just saying, I'm validated within my own self-worth and achieving my own goals and doing things that make me happy. And that's what we have this Fool energy here, because what's happier than the Fool card here, besides maybe like the Sun? The Fool is just so optimistic. They are so blissful. What's the saying? Ignorance is bliss. Not that you're ignorant in any way. It's just saying, it's just explaining how happy you are within yourself, or at least you're aiming towards your own sense of personal happiness and personal freedom. And that is something that is very unique about you. You're an individual who doesn't like to always follow the crowd. You have your own unique purpose. Now, you may have gone through different phases in your life where you've tried on different hats, because North Node can do that. It can make somebody question a lot who they are, not really have a full understanding and self-awareness. North Node energy is the birthplace almost of the intelligent mind, so they can be hyper analytical about very little things, and, you know, people around them, objects, tools, words. They might think of 5 different ways a scenario could have played out in their head over and over on repeat. However, they don't always use that same energy to analyze why they are thinking that way. How can they improve? How can they reduce that anxiety and get stuck, and not get stuck in that same circle all the time? Okay, so that's one thing that the North Node can do. But since we have this Seven of Cups energy reversed and the Seven of Wands energy reversed, it lets me know that you probably did take that time to reflect, especially when we have this King of Pentacles. And that represents somebody who is very comfortable and confident within themselves, and they have their own personal values. Like, it would be if someone said, oh my gosh, I won, maybe this is a terrible example, but oh my gosh, I won $1 million. You may be like, oh, okay, well, that's cool that you won $1 million, but like, I really, it may not impress you, okay? Not that example specifically, but maybe something that people value a lot. Our society values a lot of beauty. So maybe someone has like a very good looking boyfriend or girlfriend, and you're kind of like, oh, that's, you know, cool, that's good for them. But, you know, it doesn't really relate to anything that I'm about, okay? And you're definitely someone who's just can be very quirky. I always get the Fool card, not always, but I sometimes get the Cool card to be somebody very funny, somebody who's very like upbeat, optimistic. Somebody's a little eccentric as well with the Fool card here, but somebody who also wants to travel. So you may value things like travel, not being restrained or tied to a job, maybe having your own, maybe being your own boss is something that you're striving to be, or that you already are. That's something that you would probably find personally important. And the North Node does represent materialism in this way, and as it connects to the King of Pentacles, it's letting me know that maybe people see you as somebody who has that financial backing, or somebody who wants to have good financial health. And that's something people see that's very unique in you. They don't really see you too much living lavishly. The King of Pentacles, they can wear a lot of designer stuff, but they usually don't, because King of Pentacles is a little bit more humble. The Emperor might be a little bit more of a finesse, but it's just saying you don't need to stunt on people. People already know that, you know, you got it like that, or even if you don't, you just come off so confident and graceful that it just seems that You don't really need all the hoopla and things that are going on. Another thing that I notice with the North Node, if we take away the sort of materialism, it's really about connecting with others and building strong bonds. That's not necessarily the family that you grew up with, but it is the family that mainly you make for yourself. That is the main message I've seen over and over with the North Node. They tend to have stronger bonds with friends, associates, and etc., rather than their own kin, though it can be your own family sometimes, okay? But usually it's the family that they make for themselves in the world, and the finding like-minded people who understand and connect with you, which makes sense because we have the Fool, and that represents Uranus, which connects to Aquarius, which is all about like-mindedness and finding groups of people who understand your perspective and get where you're coming from. When we have the Emperor here, this can be about being someone who takes charge and is very ambitious. And so that's something that I see again with the North Node and the Emperor matching up here, with both of these cards being very, very ambitious and very go-getters. I had the Emperor card to represent sort of how last year would be for me, and I was definitely spending a lot of time doing a lot of research, putting in a lot of effort, making sure I was on top of all my responsibilities. It was to the point where I almost probably wore myself out, but I was confident in myself that I really did my very best. And so they see that you're bringing that to the table, that that's something unique about you, that you're really putting your best foot forward at all times, or majority of the time. You try to stay consistent and you try to stay stable and reliable. They see you as somebody who's just very level-headed and doesn't let their emotions rule them, okay? So like I said, with the Seven of Cups reverse, it's getting rid of all of those illusions and all those fantasies and coming down to the real world, and maybe even seeing how you can implement your ideas, or just having slightly more realistic goals and not really feeling the need to explore every avenue and every option. The North Node can be very one-track minded and very obsessive like energy and focus that we have going on here. Want to make sure the volume. Okay. So they may feel like that you have a strong sense of focus and that you are just very realistic about achieving your goals in a timely manner and very organized and precise. So these are the things that make you very, very unique. The Emperor also, I don't know why clothes came up, but you have a very unique sense of presenting and dressing yourself. Another thing that we can get from the King of Pentacles, besides the confidence and the sense of finances, Pentacles often rule health as well. So I don't know if you're on top of your health. North Node people, I'll say they can be very particular about their fitness. They can get very obsessive about it, or they could just be very lucky and just naturally just look good or something like that. It just depends on the person. It seems like to me you just have a very particular way of styling yourself. North Node people tend to be like very matchy. And if you mean by, what I mean by that is, like, if I had on a blue wig, I'd have on blue nails, and I might have blue shoes, and I might have like a black top or something like that with blue and black shoes. So maybe your style's similar to that, where you're like, I need to color coordinate my clothes. They do tend to be very good at color coordinating. I've noticed that with North Node people. But the thing is that's very important is that they read between the lines, okay? That's something that people notice about you, that you're somebody who doesn't just take things at face values. They face value. You investigate things for yourself, and you come in there like an open book. You don't just take someone's word for something. You need to have the experience and know things for yourself. So that's something that people find very, very unique about you, pile number 4. So that's a quick summary of the things that very much make you unique as a person. Overall, people tend to see you as humble. They see you as somebody who doesn't feel a need to conform to what people believe that you should, how you should be acting. That's something about the North Node as well. It's very non-conformist, or it can be. It depends on the person. Normally, they have 2 tactics where they'll put on a persona in order to do well within their career and their life, or they'll be somebody who just has to break out of that persona and just be themselves. And they can be very quirky. They can be very out there. In fact, if you've seen some of my videos, I talk about briefly in this video I did about Shravana, how Shastabisha, which is a North Node placement in Vedic astrology, is one of the most popular placements for drag queens. And you can see how that becomes very like subculture, especially in the beginning when drag queens first came out, you know, definitely not something that was very, very popular within society or even accepted. It's more accepted now, but still some people kind of look at it like it's different or it's outside the norm, though I will say it's way more accepted. But definitely you can see how such the beast of people really have to branch outside themselves and really put themselves out there in a way that's like, whoa, like I did not expect that from you. Like I didn't expect you to be, you know, a guy who's dressing in makeup and dresses and all that stuff, or I didn't expect you to be a woman who's presenting themselves in a more masculine way. That's something that's very different, okay? So that is what I have for you guys. You may have something about you that's very like, very much going against the grain and against the norm, and you may have a lot of opinions and thoughts that are outside of what's like cheered on and accepted in society, okay? And we have a lot of different rules or underlying rules that are unspoken, that are just out there. People have their own opinions. Like, let's say you're a person of color and you vote Republican, okay, or something like that in this country. Most people would expect people of color, especially if you're black, to vote Democrat. You may be somebody who's like, oh, I want to be out. I don't want to be, but I agree more so with the Republican Party or something like that. And so now you're very like anti-crowd, okay? You're anti what people expect you to be. So with you, it's very much expect the unexpected, okay? So that is very much what I wanted to say for you guys. You are very, very unique individuals. You have a way of thinking that is out there that may not be accepted by everyone, because we do got this 6 of Wands reversed, but you're a very much unique individual and you are solid within yourself and you are true to yourself and who you are, which a lot of people don't have that strength to just stand and be themselves. And that is all I have for you guys. Au revoir. Hey, pile number 5, let's get started on your reading and what makes you unique. We have the 8 of Pentacles, the Queen of Swords, the Emperor. We're getting a lot of repeats here, which is interesting considering the question. Mars Force, 10 of Cups, and the 6 of Pentacles. Okay, that's interesting how we have Mars Force, and then the Emperor is often connected to Mars, though traditionally it's connected to Jupiter. But we have this reinforcing Mars energy, and what Mars energy does that's very unique to, in comparison to the other planets, is it is the planet of protection. It is also one of the planets that deal with strategy. I found Mercury and Mars really focus a lot on strategic thinking, which makes sense because we have this Queen of Swords card right in the middle, but we do have it next to Pentacles, so I'm just going to reverse that a bit. So what I'm getting here is that people will often underestimate your intelligence and your mental strength because we have Mars going in here twice, you have a way of tackling issues and a problem that is atypical to the people around you. As well as when we have Mars and the Emperor energy twice, it's definitely a card that deals with a lot of responsibilities and a lot of duties, not just towards your own personal goals, but to other people around you. There may be some sort of shared responsibilities or some sense of teamwork, which is often a requirement for Mars people. They can't quite get away with this loner lifestyle. Hence, we have the Emperor being in a position of power where they have a kingdom to rule. Another thing is very interesting and unique about you is I do get a lot of Mars energy to deal with craftsmanship, which is funny because I just realized we had the Eight of Pentacles here. Like, all these cards really match up with the symbol of Mars. It is a card that really focuses on long-term strategic thinking, as well as being an artsmith or a craftsman. Guys, I can't speak today. It is just a struggle. But basically, it really has to do with fine-tuning your own skills and your own work. So what I'm thinking here is you may have some sort of hobby, some sort of skill, some sort of area of expertise that others around you do not have the same skill set in, or they don't have as much knowledge in that area as you have. And because of this, I kind of feel like the people around you, they may not see you interested in the same things that they may be interested in, and that's where the underestimating of your intelligence comes from, because you're focused on other areas which they may not see is that important. But you are putting in a lot of effort in the areas that you believe to be important. So, as I was saying, I've seen Mars connected to anything that involves being hands-on. Mars people, it's so interesting. I find them wanting to have something physical to hold, to really want to work with their hands. Even if they're a, digital graphic artist, they're probably going to want to print their work and maybe want to do some touch-ups in person. Maybe they want to combine graphic art with actual paint. It's just they have that need to want to put in that physical effort, which makes sense because Mars is a very physical planet. So people around you definitely see that uniqueness of you putting in, they see you putting in efforts, but to them, they're like, I wonder why they're doing it that way. And then a lot of your efforts do go unnoticed. I'm going to have to put that out there. The things that you're really, really interested in go unnoticed. And the things that are getting noticed, people are just like, I wonder why they're doing things that way. So it's interesting. Your way of tackling issues is different. With the Ten of Cups and the Six of Pentacles, people find you very generous. Those two cards coming together represents generosity, loving, compassion, understanding. They just overall see you as somebody who's a pleasant person. Don't get me wrong with the Emperor here and the Queen of Swords. You definitely know how to run your mouth and you're not going to, take a bunch of crap. That is what the planet Mars is for. It's a card that, depending on the Mars placement and Vedic astrology, it can be very, very shy, hold things in, and then kind of explode. Or it can be someone who's just like very, very impulsive and they'll cut you down to size. But either way, with the Queen of Swords reverse here, it lets me know that you can absolutely use your words to cut someone down to size if they are, acting out of line, if they're being rude, if they're being disrespectful. And obviously respect is going to be very important with the Emperor card here. People see you specifically as somebody who takes charge of their own life, who doesn't really need motivation from others, because Mars is automatically like a fire planet. It is the motivation. It's like inspiration. What do I need inspiration for? I am inspiration. You know what I mean? Like Mars is on that go, go, go fire spark energy. So if you have a lot of Mars in your chart, you tend to be very much a go get, like, you know how some people need a little push, they need to be like taught to go for the things that they want. Mars is the planet of effort and going for what you want, so you don't really need that. You already have that within you, and so people already see that internal light within you, so that definitely makes you unique. They don't see the world putting you down. So with 10 of Cups, back to the 10 of Cups and the 6 of Pentacles here, it lets me know that you're somebody who thinks about the community and you think about people around you. And not only that, but you think about other people's needs, other people's emotions, things that other people may be going through. Like if you see a GoFundMe where you see that there's a struggle in the community or an issue that pertains to a bigger issue, like let's say an incident happens, it involves some sort of tragedy, whether that's sexism, racism, someone wants to start a GoFundMe to, you know, sue someone, take things to court, get, you know, pay their medical bills. You may be like, okay, as a part of a community, I want to come together and I want to help the world make a better place. Let me donate to this GoFundMe or something like that. Or maybe let me volunteer at some place. Or let me help my local church, my local community center. Let me just think about the people around me, the people I work with, see if they need anything, see if they need help with anything. So you're always thinking about the community. It's not about you. So, which is interesting because normally we have Mars, and Mars can be sometimes a selfish planet. I mean, sometimes, not all the time. But in this case, it looks like you're using that energy to want to protect and want to tackle any injustice for good. It's not only just for your own kind of like selfish gain or anything like that. With the 8 of Pentacles reversed, I also get this to mean someone is thinking about investing their time, their effort, their energy, or they're already investing their time and effort and energy into areas of life which other people may not deem as useful, or they may not understand the profits or general feedback rewards that you're getting. Okay, they may see like you putting in your effort for something, but they're saying, what do you get out of it? What do you get out of, you know, helping me? What do you get out of, you know, volunteering at this place? Or what do you get out of, you know, spending your free time doing whatever? They may feel like you yourself are wasting your time doing things that make you happy because they don't see that direct reward and feedback. That may not be for all of you, but I have noticed that with the 8 of Pentacles, you know, if it were upright, it's like saying, hey, I'm getting some sort of physical reward, or I'm getting something back in return for my work. I'm having people invest in me, and then I'm also investing in my craft. Versus where it's reversed, people may be working for free. They may be putting in their efforts for someone for free. They may be listening to other people's problems for free. You're not a therapist, but I'm telling you, you're hearing all the issues and the problems in the world, right? That's another thing I noticed about Mars people, is people will tend to get very personal with them really quick, which comes back to, I love how all these cards just really connect to Mars. But people will get really personal to them really quick because they are relatable, they are personable, and they have that energy within them that just kind of feels like, hey, you feel like a buddy, you feel like a friend, you feel like a close associate. So you may get a lot of people talking to you about their issues, their problems. People who normally don't open up to other people easily may be opening up to you. And with the Queen of Swords here reverse, it's saying that you may not even be really asking for that. You may be more on the, I'm just kind of giving a listening ear side of things. You may not want to stick your foot in the advice lane, because the Queen of Swords reverse, she doesn't really want to give advice. She kind of wants to, she wants to mind her business, to be honest. But In this case, it's saying that, hey, you're getting some advice, you're getting people kind of opening up about your problems, and to some degree, you're like, I don't really want to hear it all the time, but you are listening, and you are being that open ear, and people really get that from you. They really feel like, wow, this person is actually hearing me out. This person is actually catering to my needs. This person is really kind of giving me like this father figure energy or mother figure energy. So people see that within you. Okay, and also they see your passion. I don't know why I didn't mention that the first thing with all this Mars energy here, but they see your passion outright for things. They see that you're the person who really focuses and harnesses your ability to go after and get what you want in this world. Wherever Mars is in your chart is where you're putting in a lot of effort. Mars and Saturn are those planets of effort. And my goodness, if you have those planets conjunct, kudos to you, because wow, that is so much energy and so much time. But without a doubt, wherever you see Mars in your chart, you're putting it takes a lot of focus and a lot of effort to get what you want in that area, and you need to be very strategic. And so those are the qualities that they see within you. They see you putting in a lot of effort and a lot of time to get what it is that you want in life, whether that's a home, whether that's a job where you feel you're being paid equally with the amount of work that you're getting, or a business that you're having where you can help other people. Maybe it is something where you can be in a high position within your field. Maybe you have a business you want to start. Maybe there's some craftsmanship you want to be involved with. It really just depends on whatever it is that you are seeking to get. I have seen a lot of Mars people have a sort of like scientific brain, or a way of analyzing things that is on a deeper level, or wanting to bring more logic and structure even into areas that are typically without logic and structure. So that, for example, could be like tarot here. They would create sort of like a system. They would write down what this card means and that card means. It's less intuitive and very much more so structured. So they may feel that sense of having structuredness within you. So that is what I have for you, pal number 5. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, and I hopefully will see you next time. It has been wonderful reading for you. Au revoir. Hey, pal number 6. Let's get started on your reading. I almost like threw that rock at the window. We have the 6 of Pentacles. We have the Hermit. We have the Ace of Cups. We have the 4 of Cups. We have the 3 of Cups. We have a lot of cups. We have Mercury Mind. All right, let's just get into it. So we got the Hermit and Mercury Mind, and we already know those cards pretty much align because Mercury is the planet that rules thought and communication, and the Hermit here is very reflective energy, and it connects to the sign of Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury. So we already have that strong Mercurial connection. So let's start reading from that. So something that makes you unique off the bat is your ability for introspection. You're not one of those people who goes through life blindly, who doesn't question their decisions, who has no sense of self-mastery or self-reflection or self-awareness. You are very aware of yourself, and if you are not aware of yourself, then you try to become more and more aware of yourself. And that reminds me, the 4 of Cups is also a card of reflection. So we have a lot of reflection and thought going on in here. So you're a very thoughtful person, and you're a person who has a very strong mind and intellect. And that is what people find very, very prominent within you. Your ability to really think about things on a deeper level, about society, about people, about yourself, your childhood, your own actions, your friends, whatever the case may be. You put a lot of thought into what you do. Another thing is that when we have Mercury here and we also have that Virgo energy, there is a strong sense of work ethic that comes into place. And we also have this earth sign being the 6th house and 6 numerology is also, well, 6 numerology is a little bit different because that becomes about like friends and family. But if we just relate it to the earth sign energy, that connects straightly to the 6th house. I'm sorry if this sounds like goo goo gaga whatever to you guys, but this is all like combining astrology and elements and tarot, okay? But basically, all this is saying is that you have a strong work ethic, and you also have, you're very intelligent, and your mind is, it's a wonderland, it's a maze, okay? So you're a very intelligent person right off the bat, and that's very unique towards you. You definitely could not be described as an airhead. With the 6 of Pentacles here, because that card came up first, it's really speaking to the generosity that Virgo has. And when I was first getting into studying more Vedic astrological placements, it really was obvious to me just how generous the sign of Virgo was. They're always looking after the people around them. And one thing that I saw is it was just never solely about them. Like, they weren't really completely and total loners, even if they sort of identified themselves as misfits or being misunderstood or kind of being like this bad girl, bad guy. It was interesting because they always had somebody who wanted to talk to them or somebody who wanted to get to know them, even if that's somebody they couldn't quite relate to. So they themselves may have this weird loner energy, but there's always somebody who's trying to talk to them. So as a result of that, they sort of see these people as a little bit in need of guidance, which makes sense because the Hermit has this lantern. And so that lantern is not just for seeing their way through the dark, but also to help others find the way to the light. And so without any doubt, it becomes obvious to me that people see you as uniquely guiding their way of thought or uniquely helping them out in some way, maybe giving advice, maybe giving them a different perspective, maybe stimulating their own ideas, maybe pushing them forward in a way. Whatever the case may be, you do become that guiding light and that source of generosity and care for other people. And it could even be giving them physical money, giving them physical gifts, and giving them physical time. You're just seen as an overall very generous person, okay? So that becomes something that's very, one of your unique qualities, I will say. But I kind of feel like it's mainly wisdom, only because the Hermit relates to that more so than physical things, okay? So that's something that people will see. They're like, oh, I never really thought of that perspective, okay? One thing that is also very unique is even though you have these periods where you withdraw and you go in what's beside yourself, you are not a total hermit, okay? Maybe it's just saying you prefer to go to group meetings online from your home, or you prefer to Skype someone or, something like that. But that's just one interpretation. Or it could just be saying you can be in your home for 7 weekends in a row. I mean, that's common nowadays with the pandemic and everything. But even maybe before the pandemic, it may be you may just be at home 7 weekends in a row, and then you're like, you know what, I need to go out, I need to party, I need to live it up. So you do have that flip side to you where you're like, I need to socialize, I need to be around people, I need to talk to people, I need to just have a good time, and I really need to enjoy myself. And with all these cups, people do see the emotional side to you as well. When I get cups kind of represent, well, they do represent the 4th house, the 8th house, and the 12th house. And whenever I've had transits to these houses, well, number one, they've been very reflective, which makes sense with the 4 of Cups here. But the second thing is they've always been very emotionally full. It becomes about expressing vulnerability as well as your own insecurities and being aware of your own past and your actions and how you can move forward. So that reflective quality becomes very, very strong with these placements. I'm trying to think if there's something else major. They do relate to money, but it's more about, gosh, how do I explain it? It's more about giving money to other people or gaining money from other people. Like if someone were to say, oh, here's a Christmas gift, you get $500 or something like that. Or you taking out a loan and getting money from the bank, or giving it away to charity, or maybe you are the charity, I don't know. But it's less about like, I went to work and I got a job and I worked for that. It's definitely becomes about charities, and then getting that loan payment or something from other people, or getting emotional support from other people, or maybe a lack thereof depending on the placements in your chart. But in the case of this, it's like saying that you're somebody that people would describe as very generous. Even with just looking at the water signs, that generosity comes up, as well as they see you as a very private person. There's a lot that people really don't know about you, okay? There's just this energy here where whenever I have a lot of the water houses, these are the darkest parts of the chart. This relates to the 4th house, which is the darkest point of the chart. We have the 8th house, which is the house of, secrets and everything taboo, things you don't want to be talking about, not suitable for work. We have the 12th house, which is also the house of secrets and hidden enemies. So there's a lot of layers and things about you that people do not know. And so I feel like in a lot of cases, it can be surprising to people when you're fun. I don't know why. I guess because it's the last card here, and we start off with the qualities that they see, and then the 3rd house becomes the last one. So not the 3rd house, the third 3 of Cups becomes the last one. And so they're like, wow, this person is actually fun and funny. Okay, they actually have a sense of humor to you, which I think a lot of people don't get to see that fun side of you too often. Like I said, that cup energy is so strong. Whenever you get those houses, it's like very much internal work. It's not something that people can honestly see all the time from the outside. Maybe if they're really intuitive, or if they pay close attention, then yeah, they'll see it. But most of the time, they don't see the anger, they don't see the happiness, they don't see the frustration, they don't see the anxiety all the time. I mean, sometimes they may catch it, but a lot of times you're really having those emotions to yourself, and you are so full of them. You have so much emotion. Whenever I get the Ace of Cups, it's definitely a card that I get when the day is emotional. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad or emotion or a good emotion. It just means you got a lot of emotions. And so people see that you are a very highly emotional person. Another thing we get with Mercury here is they think that you're very skilled, or they think that you're somebody who is very articulate and knows how to get their point across. I always get Mercury to represent someone who is good at teaching other people, somebody who makes things simple for other people, someone who has a strong wit about them. They're really good at outsmarting people. I have a feeling that you're just one of those people, like when you enter the room, you're probably one of the smartest people there. I get Mercury to represent being able to quickly analyze a situation. Someone who, I think a couple of powers ago, I was talking about Rahu and saying how it's very intelligent placement, and especially creative wise. They're always thinking of new things and always trending different thoughts and ideas and introducing them to a world. So they like to have this sort of mastery on creativity. Mercury is very similar, and except for it's not just a master of creativity, it's a master of all things. When I was studying placements, and the placements that people thought were the most sort of like godlike, or I guess I should say master of their own creativity, master of their own universe, Mercurial placements came up as being one of the #1 placements, especially Revati. And that's because they have a sense of mastery of the world around them. They are very analytical, skillful, and thoughtful to their approach. Like, let's say they wanted to become popular on YouTube. Somebody mercurial would try to know their audience, target that search engine, look for things that people are searching for, and constantly make videos about them. So they have the discipline, they have the knowledge, they have the creativity, they have the personableness, if that's what you want to call it, and they have the ability to communicate everything that they need to communicate in an effective amount of time. So that's somebody who's very mercurial. They know their craft. They are able to know other people's crafts as well. That's why when you describe somebody as mercurial, it's somebody who has a lot of different skills. So you're somebody who has a lot of different skills and you're able to combine them in a way and simplify it for other people as well. Now, it may take you some time to reflect and go back and shuffle through, you know, the emotions, the intuitiveness, and make it come together in a way that makes sense. But you can even see this Six of Pentacles card and how you could say this is you and you're just like feeding out, giving out coins to people. Well, we can see these coins as giving out knowledge to people, giving out tidbits to people, teaching other people, having people learn from you, as well as you're able to put yourself as see yourself as an equal, and you're able to get something out of the feedback or get something out and learn from them as well. And it's usually going to be a little bit more emotional. So people see that even though you are in this weird position of intelligence or skill or maybe even just confidence, where it may be slightly higher than the average person, they see that you don't really see yourself as above anyone. You see yourself as equal to everyone, and you see yourself as almost a student of the world, which is what the Hermit would be, okay? I hope I'm explaining things well. So that's really what's important about you that's standing out. You're a very humble person. You're a person who has a lot of emotions, has a lot of sensitivities, and you really feel hard, as well as you're very thoughtful, and I won't lie, like, you don't want to be cooped up all the time, okay? And which maybe you're at an age in your life where, let's say you're 30s plus and people expect you to sort of settle down and etc. With the mercurial energy, it represents youthfulness, and also this Three of Cups is like, oh, let's go out, let's have fun, and you don't like to be stuck in the house. So, I mean, this is for some of you. Obviously, other people who pick this pile may be the type to just want to go out every now and then. I think predominantly that's probably going to be most of you. But all I'm saying here is that you are somebody who is very youthful. That is really all I'm trying to say. And that may not be expected for you if you are older. Now, if you are younger and you've chosen this pile, then you're basically just a little bit wise for your age, and they don't expect you to be really into going out and like having fun, even though you are kind of like that. So that happens sometimes. Like, you have people who are like really young and they're like, wow, you have like this old spirit, so you don't seem like the type to be a party animal. But usually people like that are like the biggest party animals. Isn't that funny? So that is all I have for you, pile number 6. It has been a pleasure reading for you. I hope to see you next time. Feel free to check out my astrology video on my other channel. It will be up for you, and I think it'll be interesting. I'll see you next time. Au revoir.